Good morning, everyone. So glad you're here. And you're here on a very, very special day. Whether you're here with us or you're out there in the world, we are thrilled to have with us today Tian Ballou, member here for many, many years. Choir director for many, many years, practitioner for many, many years, and just all around great gal. She lives in New Mexico now with the love of her life, and I love it when she posts on Facebook because I just get tingles. They're so happy. It's just really sweet. So she's here visiting, and the thrill you're going to have today is songs she has done a little bit different. It's put her own taste to them, and you're going to really enjoy them. So the choir is ready. Enjoy. It would have been better if it went on for about a half hour, I think. Oh, I love that song. I love the way you do that, Tian. All right. We have birthdays, I think, in June. Somebody was born in June. Anybody born in June, please stand up. All right. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everyone. Everyone. Happy birthday. Wow. I hope you're playing next month too when my birthday comes up.
A suggestion.
Yes.
When we get to happy birthday, dear, we just say happy birthday, dear loved ones.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Reverend Dr. Mary Mitchell. I'm a practitioner here and love to be here at the center on Sundays. And we empower and inspire people to live spiritually fulfilling lives. And if you ever wanted to be inspired today, it's this day with Tian and the choir. It's just so super. All right, we're going to turn and wave to the camera for the rest of the people in the world and invite the children forward. Come on, guys. Maybe up here on the steps, huh? Maybe along the steps here. Yeah. Oh, sweet. And we'll now sing the face of God to these cuties. The face of God, I hold you in my heart. Just go ahead and sit down. That's fine. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. All right, go enjoy. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. How absolutely wonderful. We have a visitor today, and he too is the face of God, and Reverend Lynn's going to introduce him.
Oh, come on, Bob. Yes. I'm Reverend Lynn Fritz. This is where my journey of spiritual ordination began, here with Reverend Sue, Reverend Mary, and several others. Now I chair the Shasta Interfaith Group. And we have today visiting with us Reverend Bob Robert Swartz from All Saints Episcopal Church. Yes. I said All Saints, didn't I? I did that once before. I'm sorry, it's St. James Episcopal Church. Lutheran. What is that? It's stuck there. Come up here. St. James Lutheran Church. I so love the forgiveness of this group. It's all one. I also wanted to ask Bob to take just a minute and describe the special projects St. James Lutheran Church is doing. You may have heard of Goodwater Crossing. It is the micro shelter project. Bob?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to talk at you for a couple minutes. Goodwater Crossing is, we are using the western lot of our property. We have had our western lot for almost 40 years and not really done too much with it. It is the edge of our property. We have used it for youth events decades ago, but it has never had a single dedicated purpose. And about 2 Octobers ago, there was a city colloquium on homelessness and how to address it. And somebody brought up the idea of the micro shelters. And we said, well, we don't have much. We don't have a lot of money. We're not a large community, but we have land. We have this piece of land that we have not used, and if it can possibly meet this need, then we would be, we would be blessed to share it. And so they came out and looked at the land and said, this is exactly what we need. And so we have been in the process of having 4 micro shelters. They are pallet shelters, and so they are ready to go as soon as the ground is prepared. We do have to meet state requirements for ground. We have to lay gravel, but the pallet shelters themselves are large enough for a bed and several chairs, and there will be a communal kitchen and bathroom area, spaces to basically places to put your belongings, and a door to lock at night so you are in a safe space. Because that is that seems to be the big driver of many of the things we see with homelessness, is just that when you are out in the world, you have to make unhealthy relationships with the people around you in order to maintain things like, your safety. And so just having a place where you can lock the door behind you and say, I can rest here. We're going to have Lutheran Social Services of Northern California is already here working with homeless youth. They're going to work on case management because it's going to be a 10-month program. And over that 10 months, the case managers help people to get together all those parts of their lives that they need to have together so that then they can move into more permanent housing. And so this is a journey that we're still a part of. We are very blessed to have many people in the community who can support us because it is on our property, but it is not our project. It is our community's project. It is, I would say from my tradition, it is God's project. It is God's work, and God is doing it. But we are so blessed to be able to embark on this process, and our target date is sometime in the fall that we can welcome 5 people in to begin this process. And the hope is that when other people see that this process can be successful, that they will also be moved to say, yes, this is something I want to be a part of. Because ultimately, what I have seen from people who are unhoused is that they simply want the kind of lives that we already live. And any way that we can share that with them is a blessing. And so I give thanks for you for being a part of this community, because even if you don't know it, we are all working together to help make this a reality. So thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation.
Yes.
He's spending his first Sunday of sabbatical for the next 3 months with us. Thank you, Bob.
That was more than a few minutes, sorry.
We can tell you're passionate about it, and that's the most important thing, isn't it? All right, we have a few announcements. All the plants in the foyer outside are free. And when I close up today, I hope they're all gone. So help yourself. Help yourself. Yeah. Our watercolor artist, Sharian Wyndham, is having another class. She's like the best of the best, if you've taken, yeah. Starts Monday, June 5th, and goes to July 3rd on Mondays, 9:30 to noon, experimenting with mixing water and paint to acquire different values. So that sounds very interesting. And how to determine the degree of wetness on your paper. That sounds very interesting. Especially when I did it and it kind of ran off to the side. Something you learn. Pre-registration is required, so please do that. Sherry's the best. This Thursday, I'm going to be doing a caregiver support group Thursday. It's called Second Thursdays from 10 to noon. Wonderful time. If you're caring for someone in any way that you'd like to feel support for, and we really are a wonderful group. And someone came last time and she said, "Why don't you meet every week?" I said, no. I'm caring for someone. No. That's the way it goes. Okay, Thursday, 10 to noon. And then we have meditation with Jill Matthews, and it's called Awakening to Oneness with Life. That will be the second and fourth Thursdays, starting June 8th from 6:30 to 8 in the evening. In your program, she has a long list of the things she's going to cover. This isn't just a basic meditation. It's meditation to enrich your life, so that would be really nice. Then we're having another spiritual music jam led by Michael, Shems, and Margot, Friday, June 9th, 7 to 8:30. It's a very heart-opening experience, so bring a drum or anything, or just your hands to clap. It's a really great time. And then Saturday, June 10th, we have Landscape Save-A-Day, and thanks to all the rain we had in the spring, there's a lot to do. So if you have time Saturday, 9 to noon, they would really appreciate your help, really appreciate it. And then Christy Carr, our practitioner, is going to do another Beads and More workshop, Saturday, June 10th, 1 to 4, and she provides all the beads and all the wire and invites a donation for that. I've seen some of the pieces, and they are beautiful. All right, Awareness Bookstore has a lot of new things in stock, so please check that out after service. And then Sunday, June 11th, I'll be doing an exploring membership meeting. If you're thinking that you'd like to be part of this community as a member, I'll talk about that. It'll be after service Sunday, June 11th, about an hour, 11:15 to 12:15. And then Sacred Sisters Women's Group meets this Monday, June 12th, with Reverend Sue, and Monday, June 12th, 7 to 8. And it'll be about speaking our truth. Very powerful group. The same evening, the men's group meets with Roy Wolfstead, and that's Monday, June 12th, 7 to 9, creating a very safe place to meet and become friends and learn more about each other in the men's group. We have a crystal bowl sound healing bath. If you know the crystal bowls, and they make beautiful sounds. And Irene Bulmer is going to be here Friday, June 16th, 6:30 to 8 in the evening, to take you on a journey of sound and vibration created by the singing bowls. So that'll be really nice, really nice. All right, we got that out of the way. Anyone new here today that would like a friendship packet? Anybody new? No? All right, Doug, thank you anyway. And I'd like to thank everyone who came here early to get us all set up today. When I got here, the choir was practicing, and it was so much fun. Just so much fun listening to them. So we're grateful for Judy and Tien to be here for music. Michael, you got it. You're getting it, man. You're getting it. That's good. He's sitting in for our choir directors. That was really good. And then Joey and Lindy at the sound booth, and our kitchen cookies in the kitchen, and Doug here at the being our usher and greeter. Thank you. A lot of fun things. If you have a cell phone, if you turn it off, that would be really nice. Thank you. That's something I always forget to do. All right. Now we'll have a reading. Is Lori reading? Oh, there you are. You're in the dark. I can't see you. Okay, reading by Lori, and then we'll invite the bell 3 times to just take that message in, and then I'll do a spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer, and then we'll have Sue talking about the evolution of self-care. Beautiful topic. All right, Lori.
I have to say, I started working here November 1st of 2005. And I was here for, 6 months or so. And Thursday nights, I'd keep hearing the choir rehearsing. And I finally got up the courage to come and join them. And at that time, Tien was the director. So having her back right now is like old home week. And she was kind enough to gift me with this beautiful scarf today. So thank you very much. According to the positive psychology research of the Whole Being Institute, people who thrive take care of themselves in 5 ways. They focus on cultivating spirituality in their lives by ensuring they're leading meaningful lives and mindfully savoring the present. They take care of their physical bodies, especially for the purpose of tapping into the connection between their minds and bodies. They are intentional about intellectual stimulation by engaging in deep learning and remaining open to new experiences. They nurture constructive relationships both with themselves and with others. And finally, they're not afraid of their emotions. They don't deny or suppress their feelings, but are mindful of them. Karen Walrond, The Lightmaker's Manifesto. Louise Hay says, "In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. My life is ever new. Each moment of my life is new and fresh and vital. I use my affirmative thinking to create exactly what I want. This is a new day. I am a new me. I think differently. I speak differently. I act differently. Others treat me differently. My new world is a reflection of my new thinking. It is a joy and a delight to plant new seeds, for I know these seeds become my new experiences. All is well in my world. I approve of myself."
There is only one infinite intelligence that we call God, Allah, maybe even my friend, that created everything and everyone. And number one, that's why we take care of ourselves. When it's difficult, challenging, we look to the one that is in us, about us, all around us. We look for the grace. We want to feel the grace, and we feel it in the beauty of the day. When we look, we can find it, always. And so I accept for myself today and everyone here that self-care is so important to a long and healthy life, to a calm and enjoying life, to find that space where we commune in our mind with the One. There's nothing so sweet as walking in a forest feeling the grace of God. And so self-care is important to be on your list every day. And I accept that for myself. Take that 10 minutes, take that half hour. I will, I do, I am. Commune with the One. I give thanks that we even know about this. We even know how to do this because of all the classes, the meditation, the songs. We inspire people to live spiritually fulfilling lives, communing with the One. And so I give thanks for this center and all we offer, and knowing that you accept it with grace. And we release any cares to the wind. We release any cares and accept the grace that is all around us. And so it is.
I always like them as my backup, because I know they're not judging my backside. That's important. So moved today that Tiana's here. Try to hold myself together. I can't even look at her, I'll start crying. Just because she's everything to me in what she's done for my children. She planted the seeds of music in their lives. And weekly we would drive out to her home and she would spend time with them And then I would be the wicked mother throughout the week, said, did you practice, did you practice, did you practice, did you practice? And, but she always met them, even if they practiced or not, with such loving grace and enthusiasm and inspiration. To this day, they both, my daughter's a music coach, and she works in vocal. Oh, now I'm going to cry. I just saw somebody else here that I haven't seen in a long time. Hello, Heather. I really have grown up, Dan. This is all about self-care, and this is, I don't know why I'm the one talking about it, because I'm the worst one at it, as you can tell through the years. But I was talking about Lindy has become the voice for others to help them find the courage and the power to sing their true song. And she's an incredible musician. She married an incredible musician. Her son, he has autism and he doesn't speak yet, but he can hum, and he can hum on tune, and he knows the songs. He can pick up what you're singing or correct me when I'm trying to, as I've told you before. And then my son writes music. He writes music from the scriptures of the Tao and performs and has groups that he travels around the world doing, and that's because of Tian. I know. Yeah, right, Lindy? Yeah. So thank you for inspiring my children to be who they are. Yeah, thank you. So this whole idea, this whole month, we're talking about embracing self-care. And so my heart would just be so proud of all of us if we just took a little piece of whatever I say throughout the month, and you just applied it to your life and you felt that profound change. And today we're going to talk about the evolution of self-care. But I start with this story and see if this is familiar to you. Because one day a man, you might have heard this before, opened his lunch and complained, man, another cheese sandwich. I'm so sick of these cheese sandwiches. The next day he opens his lunch, cheese sandwich? Again? I'm going to die from these cheese sandwiches. Then, following yet again, he opened his bag, and lo and behold, he said, cheese sandwich? I hate cheese sandwiches. Oh, why, God? Why is it always a cheese sandwich? So finally, one of his coworkers said, why don't you just tell your wife you don't like cheese sandwiches? To which the man replied, but I don't have a wife. His coworker confusingly asked, well, then who makes the cheese sandwiches? The man said, I do. But here's the important part. How often do we complain about patterns in our life that we have weaved with our own hands rather than care for ourselves? Right? That's enough said right there. I can go sit down and listen to the music. And so there's a great affirmation that CSL advises for this week to think about. I mindfully fill my cup up with the love of who I am. Of the love of who I am. This talk so much reminds me of Cher, because she's always saying, love is all there is. But that statement alone is the essence of self-care. And when I looked at the message that was outlined for today, this idea of evolution of self-care, I thought, I wonder where this is going to go. I wonder where we're going to take this idea. Is it our own personal evolution of care, how we have grown to do things better? But I started thinking without realizing it, going back to our ancestors, to our generations way back. And I realized, I can't quite picture them doing morning Tai Chi or yoga practices. I just can't see it. Or gathering in the evening, let's share our hearts. What are you grateful for today? I'm sure they did that at dinner table because they were very spiritual people. Or even, how about walking a mindful evening walk or evening stroll? I'm sure they said, no, thanks. I rode a horse all day. I plowed the fields. I stooped in the garden. I can't even have a warm bath, right? What was their self-care like? And then in my imagination, those days long gone, I realized they didn't have the running water and the conveniences that we have with our machines and cars, that they were doing nothing but work and chores and sleep and eat and love each other. So I thought about how it might have even been in the middle of the night when they were thirsty. Did they have to, get all their clothes on and go out, walk down to the well, pump it, keep pumping it if there's a drought, to get a quench of thirst? So I realized that probably the most inspiring thing about their lives was simply waking up probably very early and getting to see those glorious sunrises to fill and inspire their day. They used their bodies to survive. They worked hard. But they also, I realized they couldn't do a lot of self-care because they wore the most cumbersome clothes. When I think about when I went to look at the art, when I was looking at the museums in Europe, and I thought, oh, those things go all the way up here, and then they have these corsets that make their waist a little tiny. How do you bend over, and how do you move and think, I'm taking care of myself? I can't breathe in these clothes, and how can you move and feel at all at ease? That's why I was a nurse, so I could wear scrubs. I didn't have to be bound in any kind of outfit. So going back further, you realize going all the way back to humankind living in clusters at the very beginning of time. Did they even have time to consider self-awareness, even what that was about? A couple million years ago is what I'm talking about. Their only choice seemed to be to survive, find food, or be eaten. And they didn't have fangs or claws to defend themselves, so they were just subject to injury, and of course they too faced many diseases. I can't imagine them considering the future or going to a counselor. They lived simply to survive. And then as I was researching deeper now, their brains were small. Their brains were half the size of our brain today, but they reacted to danger exactly like we do today, with that cascade of fright and flight neurochemistry. But danger was over, and they managed to return to baseline. Now, so they say, and I thought, how do they know that? Because every caveman picture I see, their eyes are bulging out, right? They still look frightened. They still look scared, and they creep around as if they're frightened. So I don't know. I beg to differ that they got over it. I think they had PTSD. But as things have changed, humankind got smarter, more creative, began embracing, safer living conditions. And fast forward now, we have all these growing societies. So we follow that whole historical timeline, and we realize how many of the various faith paths developed and thrived, and some even disappeared. But I imagine that was where they got a lot of their support. There was what was in their soul, what was their longing. Why did they choose to go worship? What was in it for them? Did they ever consider what living their life to the fullest even meant? I'm talking way back. Did they think about what's my beingness? Where is God in me? Did they think about unconditional love? And what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here? The questions that have surfaced, all of these questions, they have answers in the scriptures, answers in the writings, and I'm always so thrilled when I go back and I look at the Vedic texts, when I read the Upanishads, when I look into some of the writings in the Quran or the Kabbalah, the Bible, and I see what the same questions that we ask. They're there too. And the answers are this healing, rich scripture that just washes through you. And one of the common threads is who am I? Where am I now? And what am I supposed to be doing? deep questions that expose our curiosity of our connection to our body, to our mind, to our spirit, and seek an understanding what is life's ultimate meaning and where does this self-care fit in. So I enjoyed looking at to those exact questions. I have this magazine from the Yoga Journal, from Finding Balance, and Sally Kempton is a well-known yoga teacher in the movement, but she speaks to these three questions: the who am I, where am I right now, and what am I supposed to do? They're classic questions, maybe spoken in a little bit different way, but they're usually the three classic questions of our soul searching. And so she's addressing the idea that, yeah, accidents happen. So I'm just going to briefly touch upon one of her stories and how it operates. And I want you to kind of put yourself in the story to feel it a little bit. So it was twilight in Berkeley, and she was there to teach a workshop. And she came across a blind intersection, but she was following a friend's car. And because she had to keep sight of that car, in Berkeley, things can move fast. She was supposed to spend the night with that friend. And there was no median strip between the lanes, no traffic lights, and no stop signs. So you can imagine what's coming. My friend drove through the intersection, and I just followed her closely, not looking at the cross traffic, feeling safe because there were pedestrians in the crosswalk to my right. But just as I entered the intersection, another car suddenly appeared from my right. Car headlights were off, and I caught a glimpse of the driver, who had his head turned towards his passenger in a conversation. The car, everybody was at low speed, thank God, rammed into the side of her car, ran into his car. So, you know how that shakes you up? You been there, done that, Lindy? She pulled over to the curb, then automatically checked her inner state. Do we do that? Automatically, she checked what's going on inside of me. Who am I right now? She's trained herself. And my body wasn't hurt, she realized, but her heart was trembling, and she felt the adrenaline racing through her body. She was in anxiety, and she was in fear, and she knew it. She could identify it. But her main fear was that she was at fault. The second question, where am I right now? Who am I right now was the first one. Where am I right now? After some chaos, always happens in these things, her right headlight was smashed and the fender was punched in and the other car was smoking. The young couple were completely freaking out in the other car. Their steering had been damaged. Their car would require towing. The woman was screaming at her and that their car was ruined and she had to get home to her baby. Stress, right? Stress. We've been there at these situations. Then she asked herself the third question, what am I supposed to do right now? And it was clear the first thing was to accept the situation. To accept the situation. Identify my part in contributing to what's going on and take responsibility. The couple clearly expected me to defend myself and argue that it wasn't my fault. A passerby was saying, but I saw you do it. You hit her. So she said, mundane as it sounds, it was a pivotal moment for her. Someone scolding you for something that you already are recognizing clearly that you're going to take responsibility for, and it is your mistake. You can get lost in it. You can become more defensive, more hostility. You can get angry with the other person. You can collapse into guilt and self-recrimination. You can get angry with yourself. But third, you can disassociate from the whole thing, from your feelings, and just focus. I could feel myself tending towards the dissociative response. Putting up an inner wall, I focused for a moment on correcting my stance, breathing, softening my eyes, looking for balance between protecting my energy and connecting to the other couple. So it goes on from there, and I realized how valuable that is. We all have that choice. We all have that choice, no matter what drama is immediately dropped into our lap. there is the tendency, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. Did I do that? And then the courage to speak to that, to say, I need to take responsibility here. But as she built that story through, I was feeling the stress for her because I'm such an empath. It's sometimes not to my best. But stress, you can feel, she also described it in there. Did you hear it? She described it, and it's what happens to us. But we don't pay attention to it. We don't pay attention to our sweet body, to our sweet heart, to our breathing, to our mind, to our soul. So all these subtle influences are going on almost immediately, and our bigger brain means that we are now constantly aware of stress somehow. And then we add a level of emotion to that, and we dread and brood over our life challenges. Different threats happen to our nature, and they often have those same cascade of physiological responses, that biological cascade of hormones that are sending the messages through our body. And that's what tension and worry is. It's the ongoing stress, though, that is not processed, that we end up living in a constant state of fright, flight, or freeze. That's when you go see Lynn Fritz. You owe me. But when I still go back to the idea of the evolution of, self-care, this surprised me. I discovered it wasn't until the 1950s, which to me it wasn't that long ago. The medical field started encouraging people to embrace their self-worth. 1950s. That was key to self-care. It began when people were exploring their health habits, eating and exercise, and a few facts that I came across came from a Time magazine article on the science of stress, a fascinating read for a nurse. I don't know if you'd find it as fascinating, but I do. And because it was part of my work in the last years of my nursing in cardiac rehab, people would go through cardiac bypass surgery, heart attacks, stents, all of the procedures. Procedurally, they'd be healthier, but their body system remained tense. One of my favorite stories was working with, the people love to get on the machines, exercise, get their heart rate up. I said, let's go stretch. No. I haven't stretched in 75 years. I'm not going to start now. And I would just be like, seriously, buddy? And they would just be like, nope, no, not good. And their neck would barely move. Nope. I did my 30 minutes. I'm good to go. And I'm thinking, whew. Dean Ornish was one of the first cardiology physicians that really embraced taking people into their mind and emotions and their well-being, to soul search, to be mindful, to get in support groups for their emotions. And he was at the forefront of that. He did tremendous work on bringing that healing into focus. So people exploring health habits, exercise, eating, and the 75% adults report that they have experienced at least one stressed symptom in the past month. You don't have to raise your hand, but think about that for yourself. I mean, could I say the last 24 hours, right? Right? It just happens. Things tighten us up, and then we have to process and let go. And then 1 in 21 Americans reach the crack and collapse threshold in their lives, including full-on panic attacks. 1 in 21. Let's see. Look out. Look out. It's coming your way. The statistics are pointing us to realize that this high threshold of stress that we've become accustomed to is only inviting more and more health complications. Now I feel like I'm on my nursing bandwagon. Heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, obesity, headaches, insomnia, infertility, indigestion, depression, immune deficiency, on and on and on. It's all high stress living. It's a misery. It's a state of misery. So a brief shout out to Hans Selye, a 20th century Vienna-born endocrinologist. It was he, in his research and brilliance, that he broke down the systems in understanding that we move from an adaptive response to alarm, and we have that alarm moment, and then we go into a resistance stage, and then an exhaustion stage, and then a completely drained stage. And then what then? So in his work, he really helped frame the idea of a balanced life. And a balanced life is a spiritual life. So I take us there. So we're going to look at this self-discovery today and integrate our minds. This is something that our founder, Ernest Holmes, says. Man's first discovery was his ability to think, plan, and execute. He's going to point us to our minds, Ernest Holmes. I am perfect no matter what my appearance may be, Ernest Holmes. My body is not conscious of life, but my thought is conscious of my body. My thought operates upon my body. So it does begin all with our mind and with our connection to the greater mind, to the one mind, to the divine mind, to spirit, to God. Without that power of our mind to back us, our mind, the one mind, the great mind, we fall prey, and we all know this, to those self-deprecating thoughts that demean every intention, and we start feeling so unworthy and never good enough. So we have to train our minds. We have to support ourselves with the fortitude of self-love. We can do this by being aware of those harmful thoughts, not letting them hook us in. Don't entertain them. Don't feed them any ammunition. Let those thoughts just move right on out. Override them with loving affirmations to know your truth and know your worth. Here, Ernest Holmes again. We must come to believe that at the center of our lives, there is a wholeness with a capital W. To me, that is the divine. There is this wholeness, this grace within each and every one of us, the very center. We should think of the mind as the door through which it enters. Therefore, we should be very careful to guard what comes into our mind from the opinions of others, regulate what comes in to it from any source, to be the gatekeeper of that sacred space. And a Lutheran pastor, David Luce, says, optimism assumes things will soon get better. Hope testifies that whether things get better or worse, yet ultimately God's goodwill for us and all creation will prevail. Such a statement for us to just lean in and lay our heart into. And he goes on, and rooted in that promise, we can take action today, standing with the good, oppose evil, and doing what we can, not because we expect or need to save the world, but rather because we believe that since God will save the world, we are free to throw ourselves into taking care of the little corner of the world in which we find ourselves. So what do we need to do to take care of ourselves? What do you need to do? I think it begins with listening. Listen better, because ask and you shall receive. There is a saying from a Rinpoche that says, the more and the more that you listen, the more and the more you will hear, and the more deeply you will understand. So if your mind feels fragmented, just listen, be still, mindfully sitting with the questions and asking the divine to speak through to you. The higher power of good, the higher power of God is what we respect and what we choose to hear. And then we implement the invitations that we become aware of from that still small voice, encouraging us, guiding us to the ideal life that we're longing for. And we won't get trapped, not get trapped in the idea I must be perfect here. No, let's let that go today. Throw it out. Because what's best is if we implement what the Science of Mind teaching points to, that mental equivalent. What is the divine idea? What does it look like? Can you taste it, feel it? Can you shape it? And then you commit to the self-care that allows that to come forth. So you tap your mind for that inner guidance. And don't do this. Don't think, okay, I'm going to make a dream board, and I'm going to put the picture of that skinny little wasted person up there with a perfect a complexion who's 40 years younger than I am. I'm going to be that. You betcha. That's not a role model. That's not the role model that we're talking about. Because we want to focus on something so much more important, the divine qualities of love, of joy, of peace, of good, of health, of caring for other people. This is what we want to manifest. Pray, knowing that the divine is supporting you. You want to harness that potential and see yourself surrounded then in the most glorious light of your true nature. Matthew Fox, one must let go. One must let go of internalized oppression and dare to see oneself again as the image of God, as an original blessing, as co-creator with divinity. Self-love is a rare and radical kind of love because it requires a trust of our right to be here and of the universe's love for each of us. Be kind to yourself. As we close in on this message, if you think you're being kind to yourself, be even kinder. Allow that kindness to just spill out from your nature. That action comes from what is backing you, what is backing your longing. The thoughts and emotions might drive you, but back of that is the source. And we're encouraged to meditate. To join Jill this Thursday in that opportunity. If you don't know how to meditate, she is a sweetheart of an example in which to sit in her presence and find your way. Mindful awarenesses will allow you to thrive in a joyful, peaceful, balanced, healthy life. So listen long enough so the messages are evident to you. You've read enough books. Now we have to do the work. Choose what speaks to you. Address stress in your life above all, knowing that it's affecting your overall well-being. The body-mind is letting you know when you're in conflict. Stretch away from it. Pause in mindful moments throughout every day. Remember who you are, why you're here, and what you're doing. You can start now engaging in healthy eating, the activities of relaxation, lifestyle changes, to work and engage in honoring at least daily one self-care act that is just for you. It's not selfish. It's being a good steward of this blessed body. So we allow ourselves a few moments to feel this message instead of listening. I'm going to invite Judy up to prepare. And as she's coming up to the stage, I wanted to share one. This is about the being mindful, fulfilling the promise of the presence. The Buddha says, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So allow this true presence to increase your love and compassion today, because no one deserves your love and affection more than you. Be non-judgmentally present with yourself. Find out uniquely who you are. Enjoy that. And know that in the eyes of true spirit, you're already there. Allow this music to take you all the way.
Oh.
That was just mostly a gift to her.
Oh.
So this is a congregational song, please.
Words are in the program.
If the ushers would come forward, please. Please and thank you. As we prepare to give our offering this morning, I know our hearts are just filled with love and great appreciation for what's been offered here this morning, and for my own and your own spiritual well-being. We're filled with gratitude, knowing that life stays in balance, for we know it's true. As I give, I receive, and so it is. I give great thanks for these blessed donations received in the offering this morning and those that come in during the week. I know each dollar supports this spiritual family in so many ways as we grow together, pray together, and give thanks for all that this center has been blessed with today and always, and so it is. All right. One more song? I'm sorry?
So this also is, we're inviting you to sing along with Amazing Grace, but there is a little bit of a introduction that's a little different. So you can just wait until you start hearing the first verse and join with us. That would be great.
No, Michael, get us up.
Nam yo horenge kyo, 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 nam yo horenge kyo. Yesu, Jehovah Allah, 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 Yesu, Jehovah
Wow, that fills you with spirit, doesn't it? Awesome. Well, thank you, Tian. You're going to be swarmed now with beloveds that love you, and you love them back. So enjoy the social hall, the bookstore, grab a plant, give it a life. And thank you, choir. Michael, thank you for stepping in. Yeah. And remember all the fun things we have up to sign up for. And I was thinking about, as just kind of reminiscing about all these things. And when I was a little girl, I used to try to put one teddy bear to bed, and then I think, no, I need the other one. And then pretty soon all my dolls, and they came out of the collection, and then they were all on my bed, and I'd sleep on the floor. And my mother would get so mad at me because I had taken all the dolls out that she just put away. But I was thinking about, I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that with all of you. And I think that's why some weeks there's a lot going on. And I'm so grateful that Sherry Miller's back with us today. She's just been through an incredible healing, and she's back. And Heather as well. That's why it stopped me for a moment, just to see you vibrant. So our treatment, our prayers, are helping lives move forward, move on in grace and strength. So thank you all, because you're a part of all of it, all of it. So have the most blessed day and take care of yourself. Thank you.